Hi everyone, welcome to the first video in the Programmatic Event Use series. And in these videos, I'm going to be talking about using Labvanced programmatically, which replaces the need for the trial system and the factor tree, but it can be more complicated and it does require a lot more variables. So please feel free to pause, rewind, rewatch these videos, or send us a note if you have any questions. This is the first case, which is using stimulus lists. But there are many reasons where programming does make more sense to use than the trial system. The first is, say you have 200 stimuli and you want to present all possible combinations of 2 at a time. Or you have, 1,000 stimuli and you want the experiment to randomly select one to show to participants. You could also show different stimuli to different subjects in a more dynamic way than just using the trial system. You could use programmatic events when decisions made in one trial affect stimulus presentation on subsequent trials. Or maybe you just like programming, maybe this way makes more sense to you. In any case, these videos should help with that. So this first video, I'm going to have a list of stimuli, and I'd like the experiment to randomly select an image from an array. So let's make a new task and go ahead and get started. So first I can delete this instructions object, after reading it of course, and let's set up what I want my frame to look like. So I would like to present an image, and I want participants to click the button to move to the next trial. Of course, in a real experiment, I would record reaction time or some other variable, but for this case, we're going to focus on the stimulus list. So let's set up a basic trial here. I have my image and my button. I'm going to add an event. It's just going to be button press. The trigger is going to be, of course, a mouse trigger on the button. And the action is simply to jump to the next trial. Okay, so here's my basic frame. Let's get into the programmatic use here. So normally, if I was just going to use the trial system, I would just go to this image object, click the files, insert all my files, and let the experiment do its thing. But let's do it the programmatic way. So first, I'm going to create a new variable. And this variable is going to hold all of my files for the study. For this example, I only have 8 files, but of course it would make more sense if I had 200. So we're just going to call this files. The format is going to be an array. Data type is file, and my scale is nominal. I can click on the folder icon and let's pick some images here. So I'm going to present images of cats and dogs, and I'm going to have 8. Click OK. And now I can see all of my files are right here. I can change the file that I have selected individually. I can change their position. So you can see dog number 3 is down here now just by clicking these arrows. Now it's back. I can delete them or whatever I'd like to do. I can add more. But let's scroll down. Now we need to change these settings here. We don't want this variable to reset at trial start, and we don't really need to record it because this is honestly just a placeholder variable. This is where our files start their journey. A lot more is going to happen. So let's click OK. So here's our first array variable. Now we're going to add our event. There's really just one big event for this study. This is going to be our number draw and file select. So we're going to call it number select. The trigger is going to be on frame start. So when the frame starts, lots of things are going to happen. Our first action is going to be a variable action, and we're going to draw a random number. Now this is because, as you saw in the variable screen, each of the files are in a position in the array. And I want this random number to randomly select one of the images from the array and present it to the participant. So I want this to be discrete. My minimum should be 1 because that's my first position, and my maximum should be 8 because that's my highest position. We're going to create a new variable, and this new variable is just going to be our number index. So I'll just call it number. The format is scalar, data type is numeric, and the scale is ordinal because it's the order of the position. We can go ahead and leave everything else alone and click OK. Our next action is going to be an array operation, and we're going to select from array. This is how we're going to pick which of the images is going to be shown. So our array variable is the files, right? So that's where we stored all of our files. This is what we're reading from. Our index variable is this random number that we've just drawn here. So we just click here. Basically, this action is linking the file that's going to be shown to the whole list of files via a random number. So our output variable is a new variable, and this is just going to be image shown. The format is going to be scalar, the data type is file, and the scale is nominal. We can leave everything else alone and click OK. Great! So now we have a link from our new files per trial to the old files. The last thing we need to do is link these new images, or I guess the images that were selected in a random order, to our actual image object on the frame. So our last action is an object action, and we're going to set object property. Our target is going to be the image. Our action here is to change the file data, and we're going to do this via the variable image shown. So now we have linked all of these together. We're drawing a random number that's going to be matched to the array, which is going to map onto this image shown variable. And then we're going to change the image shown on the screen with whatever the image shown variable is for that trial. And we can click Finish. That's the difficult part. The last thing we need to do is come back down here and change our number of trials to 8 to make sure that all of our files get shown. Now we can click Save. And let's go ahead and do a test run by clicking this little play icon here. Click Start. Okay, so we see our first image. Click my button, my second, and again, we're seeing these all. These are randomly selected by the random number draw that we did. All right, and that's it. That's how to do a stimulus list. It really is just one big long event with lots of different actions. I hope this helps, and please watch the next video for more information on programmatic event use.